Welcome back to Knowledge is Kings, guys. I am Kings, and over the weekend, my wife took my kids to the park for sports, and naturally, she came home with a puppy. The puppy is very tiny, and although she can almost make it up to my wife's chair, my wife thought I should make her some steps so she can go up and down easily. And you know, if you have a puppy and you build one of these for your wife, you are so getting let out of the chores for the day, and this only took about 45 minutes. So let's get to it. I started by cutting the sides of the steps to their final height. You can see that the height is a lot taller than my miter saw can cut, but if I rock it back against the fence and lift the front up, I can make the cut. At the table saw, I'd like to play a game to see if I can move the rib fence over and tighten it as fast as I can exactly where I want it, in this case 5 inches. Nailed it. Anyway, the steps are going to be folded miter steps, and to do that, I make the table saw just over 45 degrees. This allows a little bit of a gap in the back of the miter for glue. I rip the horizontal part of the steps first. These are called the treads. Then I put the blade back at 90 degrees, and putting the newly made miter on the plywood edge against the fence, I cut the vertical part of the steps. These are called the risers. I use my crosscut sled, which I made in a previous video, to repeatedly cut the small steps on the table saw. I cut both the treads and the risers to the same length. I cut a few extras just in case something goes wrong. To glue them up, I put the long points of one tread and one riser together and tape them. Flip them over, add CA glue on one side, spray the other side with accelerator, and fold them together. Then I repeat this process a few more times, sanding the corners lightly once they were all done. The risers should have been 3 inches, but they ended up being about a 1/16 over that, which doesn't seem to be much, but multiply that by the 5 steps, and the steps would be more than a 1/4 inch taller than my already cut sides. So I took them back to the table saw and trimmed them to the right size. All the risers are the height I want for the step, 3 inches, plus 3/4 of an inch, the thickness of the plywood I am using, except for the first step, which will be cut at 3 inches exactly. Then I just glue and nail together each step and riser pair. I set the assembly on the side piece and measure off the nose of the tread 1 inch at the top and bottom. Using a straight edge, I connect those 2 points and just cut it off with my cordless circular saw. I do this to both of the side pieces. I set the steps back on the side pieces, but on what will be the outside of the steps. I trace the steps so I will know where to nail when I move the assembly to the other side, which I do next. I make sure to nail in between the lines I just drew. Once it's nailed together, I sand the pencil marks away. Okay, time to have the puppy tested out. Whoops. She deserves a little pile of treats for all that work. We will try again when it's finished. Before I do a final sanding and stain this thing, I want to add some iron-on wood banding to cover the plywood edges. This is white oak, so I'll be putting white oak banding on it. I just cut it a little long and used the heat of the iron to bend the banding over the corners. I covered putting banding on in more detail in my twisted table video, so if you want to see more tips, watch that video. Once the banding is on and it's all sanded up, it's time to stain the steps. I'm just rubbing it on with paper towel from Rags in a Box, keeping it as evenly coated as possible. You know what's worse than sanding a project? Nothing. But staining a project is up there on the boring, tedious scale. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 on the King's scale of boredom. Sanding gets 11. Anyway, let's skip ahead. I'm spraying on a 3-sheen Renner finish. This will make it liquid proof, which is important for a puppy. When that's done and dry, it's time for the puppy to try it out for real now. So it actually took a lot to get the puppy interested in the steps at all. Even a couple times she went up the steps and tried to jump off the chair instead of going down the steps again. So either she hates the steps or she's suicidal. But eventually she made it up and down without too much trouble, and I'm sure she will only get better at it in the next few days. That's it for today's project. Don't forget to like this video as it really helps out the channel, and subscribe so you can be entered into our current giveaway. Details are in the description. Oops. Also, don't forget to tell me a project that you would like to see me do in the future, and we'll see you in the next one.
More?
Okay, Luna, you wanna go get some? Go get some. Go get it, Luna.
Okay, Luna.
Sheik, you wanna go get some?
I mean, there's really only crumbs left in here.
Go get it,
You want
Sheikah.
some? Sheikah. Sheikah, come here. You can take the whole piece. She's like, nope, nope. Okay, Luna, Sheikah, come. Sit. Sit. Good girl, Luna.
Hey, your butt is getting a whole lot of camera action. But
Come.
whole lot of camera action.
Sheikah. Come here. Come here. Because that one's too big for you. Come here. Good girl, Luna. You gonna come over here, Sheikah? Luna, can you come over here? Sit. Sit.
Go get it, Sheikah.
I like it, I like it.